we live in a box sometimes, and we aren't consciously aware or unconsciously aware of what's out there and what's available to us that could be expanding our consciousness and giving us new experiences and different ways of seeing the world.
Yeah, I like to always ask myself, who am I apart from my history and the masks that I wear or the conditioning that I've experienced?
How does my soul want to express in this world?
Yeah.
And changing that frame of what does the world want of me to how does my soul want to express?
Yeah.
Because the opposite of depression is expression.
Free to be me, free to sing, sweet feathers envelop me like a hug.
The Safe to Be Seen podcast is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only. Darci and Brandon Burke do not claim to be experts. We have no intention to defend our beliefs or impose them onto others. This podcast provides a space to allow for us to share with others what it's like to be us. We desire to share our human journey with others. We advise you to seek professional counsel, therapy, and or treatment from trained, credentialed, and certified professionals for any emotional, mental, and or physical conditions you may be experiencing. We welcome you to this edition of the Safe to Be Seen podcast with Darci and Brandon Burke. We're so grateful to be here with you. And today we're going to talk about authenticity. We felt like it was a natural progression from the previous episode we did where we discussed attachment. Most specifically, we discussed attachment to knowledge and beliefs. And today, in discussing authenticity, we will probably venture more into different types of attachments that tend to tug of war and rival and even clash with authenticity. So, but before we do that, Darci, how are you?
I'm so good.
Awesome.
So good to be here today.
Yeah.
This is our fifth episode.
Fifth episode. Yeah.
And it's been so much fun. And I think when you are in creation mode, you really don't care or worry about who is receiving it because you're just having so much fun doing it.
Yeah.
It's like, I hope this information, I hope our experiences are super helpful to other people, but this is so much fun.
It's so much fun. You saying that reminds me of what I have heard said from artists and musicians, other types of creators, when they say that, I'm speaking of authenticity, they say that this is something that is just coming out of me. Mm. And I really don't have a lot of expectations tied to it. I have no fear tied to it. I hope that it's enjoyed and well received, but honestly, they say, this is for me. This is for me. This is my expression. And I think that that's a beautiful thing. I think that when we express from that place without trying to prove, without trying to impress, or without expectations.
Yeah.
I think that that's a beautiful way to express.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been so much fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've been good. We, this past weekend, we celebrated my mom's 70th birthday party, got together with all of our family. And so that means I got to go back to my hometown of Price, Utah, where I lived. I was born there. Then I moved away for about 10 years and then moved back to Price. So for anybody that does not know where Price is, don't feel bad. A lot of people don't.
Yeah.
I've heard it be called the armpit of Utah, which is so mean because it's actually quite amazing there. But it kind of reminds me of Cars Land, or what's the movie Cars?
Cars, yeah.
Just kind of dry.
Yeah.
I think about when I think about that movie Cars, I think of Price. But it was so fun being back there. I had such a magical childhood in Price.
Yeah.
I had this little community, my neighborhood, Gordon Creek Drive, and all of my best friends lived on this street. And my best friend's parents were best friends with my parents. And we all went to church together. Me and all my friends, we did everything together. It was like this little sacred street where lots of magic happened. And especially being there in the summertime, just brought back all those memories of my youth. Just feeling super grateful for what a fun childhood I had there. But it was Sunday, and some of our family was going to church, and me and you wanted to go on a hike.
Do our own church.
Out in nature.
Yeah.
And you have a Trails app is that how you found this?
Yeah. I have an app on my phone that just pulls up all the hiking trails in the area that you want to look at. So
we saw that, and I think also my parents suggested it. Oh, you should do Gordon Creek Falls.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is Gordon Creek Falls? And how come I have never heard of this place before? Because it's probably 20 minutes from where I grew up, and I have never heard of this hike or this place. Me and my friends spent so much time outside and at the canal, and we would have lived there if we would have known such a place existed.
Yeah.
So we decided to go there, called Gordon Creek Falls. If you're ever in Price, Utah, if you want to go on an amazing hike with some waterfalls, go to Gordon Creek Falls. And we got there. I had no idea what it was going to be like, walking through a lot of dirt and a lot of sand. But then you come across these amazing falls. Was there 3 of them?
Yeah. 3 levels of falls.
3 levels of falls. And it was so beautiful. And the water was so crisp, and it was so much fun. And I realized that kind of like a metaphor for life is that you can be operating and only seeing things from your conscious awareness, from what you know is there, from what is around you, when really there's this whole world out there that to explore and to experience. And we were just talking about that, how it made us think about how we live in a box sometimes, and we aren't consciously aware or unconsciously aware of what's out there and what's available to us that could be expanding our consciousness and giving us new experiences and different ways of seeing the world. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it was so much fun. And should we share what we did there?
Yeah. Yeah, let's share.
As part of our, I think marriage, the longer you're married, you can kind of become dull in your experiences that you do with each other. They make sometimes feel mundane or repetitive or not very exciting. And so something that you and I have tried doing, especially in these past few years, is trying to bring back some teenage excitement and thrill and adventure and fun and laughter and curiosity. So play. Yeah. Yeah. And it has been so much fun. And it's required literally $0 to do this. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We decided to go skinny dipping.
Yes, we did.
Out in the middle of nowhere, Gordon Creek Falls.
Yep. I
initiated it. You followed.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun.
It's, it's difficult to find much that compares to being stark naked out in nature.
Yes.
Especially in probably, I'm guessing, high 40s as far as the water temperature. Mm-hmm. Crisp runoff, it was just runoff water from the mountains coming down this river. And we sat in it, we played in it, we went in the falls and let the water run over our heads, and
it was so fun.
It was so fun. We felt like kids. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really important, I think, to remember to play and to
be a kid again.
Return back to that childlike nature. Mm-hmm. And skinny dipping was a great way to do that. That was a blast. We had so much fun.
Yeah, so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that was I think that's ties in perfectly to this episode's topic of authenticity. We'll get into it here in a little bit, but our authentic nature is that of a child in a lot of ways. And we'll talk much more about that here in a little bit. But, I wanted to share, I came across a really interesting Instagram reel from Zach Bush. And to the listener, if you are unfamiliar with Zach Bush, I highly recommend you give him a follow. He's a physician who talks a lot about connection to self, connection to others, connection to the world, to the earth, to nature, and the healing power therein in that connection. And he last week shared on his Instagram page about a study where the researchers they had the hypothesis that the highest level of energy emitted from a human being occurs during the states of love, gratitude, joy. And so they conducted this study where they put these participants in a Faraday cage, which was able to create a perfect isolated electromagnetic field. And while in there, the researchers would engage the participant in conversation, in story, and they would talk about things like their grandmother, the participants would, or other things that would bring up emotions of love, joy, gratitude. And sure enough, these emotions, when telling these stories, would create these really high levels of energy being emitted from these human beings. But they also mixed in some other stories and conversation that would elicit other emotions, difficult emotions, anger, frustration, depression, things like that. And sporadically throughout, they would get these really large spikes of energy release that they were unable to directly pinpoint to an emotion because they were very random. In other words, they couldn't say, oh, we're getting this spike because this person is feeling love. We're getting this spike because this person is feeling anger. They were all over the place. But these spikes in energy emission were 40 times greater than the energy emissions of love, gratitude, and joy. And so they were scratching their head and wondering, what is going on here? And as the researchers listened back over and over and over again through these participants telling these stories and experiencing these emotions, the researchers would actually they would have a response, an emotional response, represented by getting goosebumps, and right when these huge spikes would happen. And so one of the researchers came up with the theory that could it be that what we're experiencing in these 40 times greater energy spikes, greater than love, joy, and gratitude, could it be an authentic moment that we are experiencing, regardless of the emotion, just an authentic moment? And so they redid the experiment, and they found that to be the case, that these participants, when they were expressing authentically, regardless of the emotion, the energy spike was 40 times greater than that of love, gratitude, and joy, which had previously been believed to be the highest energy that could be emitted from a human being would come from those quote unquote positive emotions, And so it's just a beautiful scientific confirmation that authenticity is it's the expression of our soul. And so regardless of your emotion, if you are living in alignment with your soul, if you are expressing authentically, you will experience this profound emission of energy. And, going along with that, there's when you are living authentically and you see yourself in your incredible beauty, sometimes attached to that is a lot of grief for not having seen that before, or maybe for not having seen it in a long, long time, and for having gone so long without really truly seeing your authentic beauty. But also, you will experience profound joy coming from the reverence of truly seeing yourself and truly living authentically, and extreme love when you truly see your beauty. But none of that really matters until you can see that authentic beauty in yourself. And then and only then are you able to see that in others. So I thought that was a beautiful study that was done to, it's really interesting when science is able to kind of bear out these things that we theorize or that we hypothesize.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
How advanced we've become in these studies, in this research, especially when it has to come with we're vibrational beings, and being able to study that and show that. And, and speaking of, you express that authenticity is just connecting to soul. It's the expression of our soul. I love that so much. And soul is just a metaphor for the organic wisdom of the natural beings that we are. And I think a lot of times people experience, we've coined and I've heard it termed soul depression. They get depressed because their souls are not living out the blueprint that they were designed to live. And authenticity really just contributes to the wholeness of the world. If you think of putting together a puzzle, which I hate doing. I hate doing puzzles. I love looking at them when they're done, but I just don't have it's okay. It's okay. But every puzzle piece is shaped differently. It's a little bit different color. But it adds to the overall wholeness and the overall picture once it's completed. And, it adds to the wholeness of the world. It raises the vibration of the world when you are living authentically and expressing yourself authentically. And I think that in the first half of life, we ask the question, James Hollis says this, we ask the question, what does the world want of me? What do my parents want of me? What do my teachers want of me? What do my friends want of me? What does society want of me? And we get to a place to where we have to ask ourselves, he says, making an appointment with your own soul, of getting to a place of how, not so much like what does the soul want of me, but how does my soul want to express in this world?
Yeah.
And changing that frame of what does the world want of me to how does my soul want to express?
Yeah.
Because the opposite of depression is expression. And I think that we make ourselves, which we'll talk about later in the podcast, physically ill, symptomatically by not living authentically.
Yeah, very good. So let's maybe move into talking a little bit more about what authenticity is actually, and what maybe it is not. I think for me, when I think about authenticity, it's really helpful for me to start with what it is not. And for me, authenticity is not a destination. It is not an achievement. It is not a buzzword, a fad, or a trend, or even a personal preference. Authenticity is a process. Authenticity is a sacred obligation. Authenticity is alignment with my higher self, my true self, my soul.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I always, when I think of kind of gauging myself of whether I'm living authentically, I like to simply inquire inwardly. Am I living in a way that has anything to do with expectations of myself, expectations of others on me? Or do I have expectations of others? Am I living from a place of fear? Am I living concerned or worried about how others perceive me or how they may judge me?
Mm-hmm.
And those are really good, for me, really good measuring sticks for knowing whether or not I'm living authentically. How would you, Darci, how would you define authenticity, or what is authenticity to you, or what is it not to you?
Yeah, well, I think authenticity, we've spoken about this in previous episodes, I think authenticity is who you are or who you were before the world told you who you should be. And it's a lot about unraveling and shedding who you are not.
Yeah.
The conditioning, the domestication, your culture is an unraveling and kind of like peeling off the layers of what you are not to get to who you are. Mm-hmm. And I think in my experience, that was so true for me of getting into my 40s. And I mean, I know I realized my authentic expression throughout my whole life. I've connected to those parts of me and have lived those parts of me. But getting into my 40s and hitting that wall, and we talked about like religious deconstruction and of having to kind of peel back layers of what no longer serves me, what is not me, mm-hmm. to get to my full authentic expression. And it's been really fun discovering my full authenticity. And it's like you said, it's not a destination. It's a process of unbecoming all the time.
Yeah.
And reshaping yourself and evolving and changing and growing, and as we should.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to always ask myself, who am I apart from my history and the masks that I wear or the conditioning that I've experienced? Mm-hmm. Who am I? And, like you said, it's an unraveling. Mm-hmm. It's not about necessarily doing more. Mm. It's about being. Mm-hmm. It's about shedding the armor that we have carried around to protect ourselves, dropping the masks that we have worn, mm-hmm. that we have had to wear based on our life's circumstances and what we needed to do, mm-hmm. and to be in order to belong and to fit in. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how does somebody, because we're born authentically. I mean, babies, toddlers, they express their needs. They cry. They tell you what they need. They laugh. They're so authentic in that way. how does somebody lose that part of them? What are things that happen to people that disconnects them from their authentic essence, would you say?
Yeah, I think that, what happens is humans are born into this world, and of all the animals in the animal kingdom on this planet, humans have the greatest needs in infancy.
Mm-hmm.
And they have those needs for the greatest amount of time of any animal. And so, humans have we have this non-negotiable, absolute necessity to be cared for, to be protected, to be loved, to belong. And what happens is, that's the attachment piece. Last episode we talked about attachment mostly in regards to beliefs and knowledge, but there are many other types of attachment that we as humans experience and actually need, so that we can be cared for and taken care of and grow and develop and survive and live. Mm-hmm. And so I think, what happens is this like tug of war between those needs of attachment and the need of authenticity, the need of authentic expression, of individuation, of our own uniqueness. And there's this like tug of war going on. Mm-hmm. And, I think what happens is a lot of our, what's often called a provisional or conditional personality is constructed around the experiences that we have when we recognize, and as small children, a lot of this happens before age 5. And we start to recognize that, I need to be a certain way in order to receive that love, that attention, that belonging. Mm-hmm. I need to act a certain way. I need to talk a certain way. I need to express a certain way. A good example is, all too often, unfortunately, children who are, you mentioned infants, they have no hesitancy. Like they're hungry, they let you know. They're upset, they're uncomfortable, whatever it may be, they let you know, usually through crying and screaming and, but as we get a little bit older, a young child might be experiencing some difficult emotions. Mm-hmm. Let's say perhaps anger or frustration. And they may scream and yell or throw what we call a tantrum. And it's not uncommon for the parent or the caregiver to say something to the effect of, a good child does not act that way. Mm-hmm. Go to your room and don't come out until you're ready to act the right way.
Yeah.
And, pretty soon with enough experiences like that, we begin to be molded and fashioned and conditioned and domesticated in a way that allows for our survival. Mm-hmm. And allows for us to maintain that attachment that we desperately need. Mm-hmm. And, I think that there's this tension, this really strong tension between those two non-negotiable human needs.
Yeah.
And, as we progress throughout life, we create this persona. We live from ego. And ego is anything that we the way that we live, that is our identity, that is our protection, that is our comfort, that is our belonging. Those parts of us that make us feel safe and okay in that way, like to maintain that attachment.
Yeah. You're not born with an ego.
No,
It's
you're
developed.
not. Yeah.
It's a protective mechanism. It serves a purpose.
Yeah, for sure. It's necessary.
For sure. But in that example you gave of the parents, and those are the best of parents with the best of intentions. Yeah. We've all been there.
Yeah.
It's just bringing awareness to what it is happening. And what really is happening in that situation is not so much parents maybe just trying to teach their child what in their eyes is appropriate behavior. I think it has a lot more to do with parents not feeling comfortable in their own bodies when somebody else is expressing themselves authentically. It brings up discomfort in yourself when you see somebody else expressing authentically. It's not so much about them having their tantrum or seeing another human being out in the world cry or express. It's how you are feeling inside of yourself causes you to react to that. And I think that, we lose that. What you just explained is actually trauma to a child.
Yeah.
People think of trauma as capital T trauma, lowercase t trauma. But trauma is not so much about what happened to you, but what happens inside of you because of that experience. And in that example you just gave, in that experience, what happens inside children is that, there are parts of me that I have to hide, to suppress or ignore in order to be loved and accepted. And as kids, we will choose belonging over authenticity as we start to grow and recognize how we're receiving love. And when we receive love, we will choose that.
We have to.
To survive.
For survival.
Yeah.
Like, you're helpless.
Mm-hmm.
You're helpless as a child. And so, your other non-negotiable need of authentic expression goes by the wayside.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, though, the irony is that if we were to look at those two non-negotiable needs, there is a pecking order. Like, they're not on the level playing field. They are both non-negotiable, but there is one that is more important than the other. And that is, like, overall in our life. Mm. And that is authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
And, this is where maybe we spend some time and get into some of the consequences of not living authentically.
Mm.
As we get domesticated and conditioned, and we are identified through ego with our societal roles, our cultural conditioning, our religious indoctrination, the beliefs and views of the world passed down to us from our parents. We start to, like I said earlier, we start to construct this persona or personality that is not our true self.
Mm-hmm.
It's so interesting to me. It's fascinating, actually,
mm-hmm.
because as I have been walking this path of self-discovery, it's become so clear to me. We talked earlier about things just start to fall away.
Mm.
Things actually burn away as you do the work on, gaining awareness and on digging into, why am I the way I am? And who am I really? With that, apart from my history and my conditioning and the masks that I've had to wear, who am I?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a beautiful, very, very difficult and painful, but beautiful work as you start to become aware of why you are the way you are, or why you have been the way you have been. And these, they start to, like, melt away. Mm-hmm. They start to fall away and shed away. And it's the unbecoming that you referenced earlier, the unraveling. Yeah.
It is healing. Healing and therapy is just self-discovery. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's having an understanding of why you are the way that you are and reconnecting with your authentic self. And we do suffer. We suffer in many ways when we disconnect from our authentic self, when we disconnect from our needs, when we disconnect from our soul expression. The way that that manifests is, I like to look at it, and is how I kind of like describe it to my clients, is that it's almost as if your soul is like shaking you. It's trying to get your attention. And that is manifested sometimes through disease and suffering. I mean, we suffer into consciousness.
Yeah. When you consider your romantic relationship, are you ready to turn your fear into love, your judgment into curiosity, what seems like drudgery and work into play, your attachment into authenticity, your codependence into sovereignty? Are you ready to laugh more, sing and dance more, have mind-blowing sex, the kind where you meet the divine when you make love? Are you ready to connect on a level that you could have never imagined, first to yourself and then to your partner? Are you ready to start living? Are you ready to love and be loved without conditions, without keeping score? Are you ready to be seen and to see your partner? If you answered yes to the above, sign up for our couples retreat, More Than Love, held in a luxurious 7,000 square foot cabin in Bryan Head, Utah, September 19th through the 21st. Having divine union with your partner is not only possible, you deserve it. But it takes work. It takes understanding how and why you've been stuck in unconscious loops and patterns that were created long ago to keep you safe and to protect you, and how all of that protective armor around your heart is now weighing you down. It's preventing you from breathing. It's keeping you playing small. It's preventing connection to your higher self and to your partner. It's time to take off the masks. It's time to put the armor down. It's time to discover your authentic self. It's time to create true safety. Safety for you to be you and for your partner to be them. At this 3-day retreat, you will learn the why behind the loops and patterns that create disconnection from yourself and your partner. How to bring to your conscious awareness why you are the way you are and why your partner is the way they are. How to discover your unconscious wounding and how to heal it. How to effectively handle rupture and repair. How to heal, comfort, hold, and love your inner child. How to integrate your shadow. How to get out of your head and into your body so that you can be present. How to feel safe in your body. How to get good at feeling your feelings and sensations and to understand that they are messengers for you, trying to give you important information. How to progress toward authentic living. How to handle the delicate dance of sovereignty and connection. How to heal your sexuality. How to regulate your nervous system. How to manage your triggers. How to step into your divine masculine and feminine. If you're ready to feel safe to be seen, if you want more than love, this retreat is for you. So click on the link in the show notes to apply.
There's a story of, I once listened to a podcast and have read some of her books. Her name is, I have to look at her name, Anita. How did we decide to say her last name? Morjani?
Yeah. Yeah.
She was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and forgive me, but I can't remember what type of cancer that she had. Do you remember?
I don't.
But she tells the story of how she, she kind of grew up very much a people pleaser all throughout her life and was never said no, to the point of like self-sacrifice and feeling like this is how she was going. If she did not do this, people would not love her.
Mm-hmm.
And so she got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. She was in a coma in the hospital. The doctors had told her husband, say your goodbyes. And she had a near-death experience where in that state, that transition state, she was actually shown how to heal her cancer. Basically, by living authentically.
Mm-hmm.
And she, in that experience, was shown her life and what had caused her to be sick. Her body was deteriorating from not living authentically, from not expressing her needs, from self-sacrificing, from self-abandonment. And Dr. Gabor Mate I've heard him say many times that women carry 80% of the autoimmune disease in this world. And I've heard him say it's because women are almost taught through culture, society, religion to sacrifice themselves for the betterment of their families, for their spouses.
Yeah.
Which there's beauty in that. There's so much beauty in service and in doing things for other people. And to a point, moms all have to sacrifice. Parents do in general, but moms have to sacrifice part of themselves for the betterment of their child. But it's when it becomes chronic, and it's when it becomes, that's my only purpose in this life, and you are sacrificing yourself and your body and your needs to this point of self-abandonment, you're going to cause disease inside of your body.
Yeah.
That was something I had to grieve over. I have 2 autoimmune diseases. And I realized in my healing journey that I was very much involved in managing other people's emotions and in trying to keep the mood happy and good and peaceful. Very much tried to manage other people's emotions. Wasn't very vulnerable in expressing my needs. And I see that a lot. I see that a lot in women that I help and in people that I talk to. It's a very common thing for both women and men, but the statistics and the data shows that women suffer the most in that department.
Yeah.
Carrying 80% of the autoimmune disease. That's a staggering statistic.
That is sobering.
It is.
And not surprising, I have to say, actually. For like, I see how that could be, in that women are, through societal, cultural, and religious expectations and roles and identities, there's so much suppression going on.
Yeah. Yeah. And, in my experience, and it's more for me like enjoying and living out my life in a way that my soul wants to express, and also maintaining healthy and good relationships with my children, is that I can do both. Because you can devote your whole entire life to your family, sacrifice your own needs and desires and dreams for the benefit of your family, and not be a very good, present, connected mom. It's not one way or the other.
Yeah.
For me, it's more about, there's that quote by Carl Jung that says, you're going to have to help me say it. Something about you say it, because I can't remember it word for word. The greatest harm.
Oh, yeah. The greatest burden of a child is the unlived life of its parents.
Yeah. The greatest burden of a child is the
Carl
unlived
Jung.
life of a parent. And I realized that suppressing like my dreams and the way that my soul wants to express in this world outside of motherhood is showing my kids the beauty in living and expressing your authentic expression. And that for me, it's more about maintaining connection with my kids and presence with them.
Yeah.
And showing them that I am somebody else besides a mom too.
Yeah.
I love both. I cherish being a mom. That's my most favorite thing. But I have other ways that I want to express in the world.
Yeah.
And that's a gift to them, actually.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, you touched on many things I want to follow up on. I would just, one of the last things you said, I think that one of the requirements to authentic expression is presence.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, authenticity is not about like achieving a destination, arriving at a destination, or like getting like, I don't know, the way I'm thinking about it is like, oh, I've made it, you know?
Yeah.
I'm authentic. No, it's about, for me, it's about being present and allowing myself to feel my emotions, to feel my bodily sensations, to experience my life, my experience of life, to fully experience it, to fully allow it to be. Whatever it may be. So being authentic does not equate to always being happy.
No.
Or to always being successful or creative, or so much of being authentic is being present and grounded in my life's experience.
Brand, would you say that a huge part of your depression story was not living authentically?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no doubt. As we go, we talked about a few minutes ago, this process that occurs in all of us, even under the best of circumstances, with the perfect, most amazing caregivers, parents, we experience separation. We are thrust into this world after being lovingly, carefully cared for in the womb of our mothers. We come plopping out.
That's a beautiful way to say it.
We plop out. We get thrust into this crazy world.
Yeah.
And even under the best of circumstances, like we experience separation, and we are always longing for that and reaching and seeking for that connection to self and to others. And
even if we don't consciously know it.
Almost all of it is unconscious.
Yeah.
And so, my own journey, I had to, well, it's like you said, I believe is almost a requirement to healing and to consciousness is suffering. You suffer into consciousness. And, when that occurred for me, when I came to my rock bottom, my breaking point, and I had to start to examine and look deeply within myself as to why I was the way I was. I started to realize that I had been suppressing so much of my humanity, and that I was so highly revved, so hardworking, so driven, ambitious, dedicated, that, the irony is all of those qualities and traits, much like people pleasing or service, self-sacrificing, the irony in it all is that those qualities and traits are lauded and praised by the world. And so I just thought, hey, this is like the great thing about Brandon Burke is he's driven, motivated, ambitious, hardworking. You tell him he can't do something, well, that's just going to make him work even harder and prove to you that he can, kind of guy, Those were the parts of my personality that I identified so tightly with, that we talked about earlier, that actually I had to develop provisionally, conditionally, to maintain that attachment as a young child, to get the attention that I so badly needed, to feel the belonging that I desired. Those were the personality traits that I developed. And so, although they're not bad per se, what I have done, Darce, is in my journey is I always simply ask myself, what is the why?
Yeah.
What is the why?
Behind what you do, why you do what you do.
Because it's not a bad thing to be ambitious. Unless the why for my ambition, for my unrelenting hard work and drive to the point of exhaustion and breakdown and burnout, unless the why was because I was seeking external validation. I was needing so badly to be seen as important. There aren't too many better ways in this world to be seen as important than to become a doctor. To give care to others. And that's a beautiful thing. Again, unless the why is because I'm really empty inside. And doing that makes me feel enough, makes me feel important, makes me feel seen. That's the key for me. That's the key in knowing whether I'm living authentically or not.
So how has you reclaiming your authentic self, how has that changed your life personally, at work? Can you speak to that?
Yeah. Well, I see it's almost as if before I saw the world in black and white, and now I see it with all this vibrant color. And I feel so deeply connected to myself that it's like I spoke to earlier in the experiment described by Zach Bush. Initially, when there was that reconnection to myself, there was a lot of grief. For having let so much time, this was in my 40s, and for having lived for so long the way I did. But also there has been an accompanying and even greater measure of love of self and of others, and compassion, and much, much less judgment, much more peace, joy. And I just, I feel so good too.
And you look so good.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, I feel, and again, I want to drive home the point to the listener that this doesn't mean I'm an expert or I've arrived or I've got all the answers. It just means, I've experienced reconnection. Yeah. And I've experienced a lot of healing. It doesn't mean my journey's over. It means I still have a lot to learn and to do in regards to healing and progression to make and further discoveries that I'm excited about. It's not this destination that I've arrived at for sure. It's just, in that healing process, I feel lighter. I feel energetic. I feel a great desire to care for myself physically, emotionally, spiritually. And in that process, I found that I want that for others too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So yeah, I've just found so much more fulfillment and joy in life. And, even from, in my worst of times, literally, having experienced career burnout, literally, like, not knowing if I could, like, make it through a day of work, to spending that 8 to 10 minute drive and that short walk from the parking lot into my office, like, almost in awe, thinking to myself, and even sometimes saying to myself, I can't believe I get to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe I get to offer my love to my patients, use the gifts that I've been given to bless their lives, to hopefully enhance their lives in some way, making them hopefully feel a little bit better. So, yeah.
That's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing all that. And may I just say that watching you come alive has been so beautiful and so healing for me and our family. You cry so much now, and it's you cry at a sunrise, listening to a song, hearing our kids express themselves musically. It's seeing you discover your gifts and your talents, parts of yourself that have been suppressed out of protection. Trauma forces you to disconnect from yourself in order to survive. And what you spoke to earlier was this need for validation outside of yourself, was just those protective parts of you trying to protect you. And that's the beauty of healing and self-discovery, is parts work and creating a new relationship with those parts. But man, sorry, my phone. Mm-hmm. Coming alive is so beautiful, isn't it? Yeah. And seeing you, go from deep depression to literally the light in your eyes changed. We should show a before and after picture. Maybe we should on the podcast, but yeah, it's been so beautiful, honey. Thank you for sharing all that.
Yeah. Thank you.
If one were to discover they're wanting to go down this road of discovering their authentic self, of not even know where to start, it's so interesting because I'll talk to some women in their 50s, in their 60s, in their 70s, and, their kids have left the house. They're now grandmas. They devoted their whole entire life to their kids, which there's so much beauty in that. I'm not shaming that in any way, shape, or form. But I've spoken to a lot of women recently who are like, I don't even know what I like. I don't even know who I am.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I were to go out and get a job or to express in the world. I wouldn't even know where to start.
Mm-hmm. I
have some ways. I'm curious what you would say to that.
Yeah. Well, I think for me, again, I suffered into this, what you described as my soul reaching down and shaking me awake.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, I couldn't continue on the way I was.
No.
And so the desire to change has to be greater than the comfort of living in that familiar hell.
Mm-hmm.
And so first of all, like for me, it was like, it wasn't just me happily waking up one day and saying, I think I'm going to try to start living more authentically.
Yeah.
It was
If only were
like,
that easy, right?
Yeah, it was like it was a dark night of the soul.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a good place to start is to, I'll say this, how like we started out the podcast actually with talking about the hike we did, and how you grew up 20 minutes away from where we hiked. And I don't know if the listener can fully appreciate, but you and I skinny dipping in that river with those waterfalls, it was pure heaven, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was blissful.
It was.
We were childlike. We were playful. It was incredible. Mm-hmm. And it was like, how, Darci, could you not have known this was there all along?
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And if you had known, you even said, I think, I would have spent so much time up here with my friends. Like, we would have done this, we would have done that, we would have. And it was like, it's the same thing, I think. Like, it's a cliche, I know, forgive me, but you don't know what you don't know. Mm-hmm. And I think for me, it was like, okay, let's take a deep look inside regarding, like, deeply asking me, why am I the way I am? Mm-hmm. And not stopping and like keep asking, because it's easy. Like if you're you don't have a lot of awareness, it's easy to stop short of the truth, the answer. But I found that as I just kept asking and looking inward, that I started to gain more awareness. Things started to become clear to me. And these parts of me that were protective, that were scared, full of fear, insecurity, doubt, self-limiting beliefs, flat out lies, all these things that I had attached to as me started to just shed away.
Yeah.
I think something like a very specific practical practice that we could maybe suggest to the listener that helped me was actually my memory. Of course, I couldn't remember like what it was like specifically for me, what it was like to be Brandon as like a toddler or a young child. So I would interview people. I would, my siblings, I would ask my siblings to please share with me your memories of me. Like, what was I like as like a 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old,
Yeah.
And even my parents, asking them, what was I like? And that was really fun. That really started to help me remember, authenticity is, again, much less about doing and much more about remembering. So how about you?
Yeah, it's not something, authenticity is not something that you create.
Yeah.
It's something that you remember.
Yeah.
It's something that you reclaim in yourself.
Is there anything any practices or anything specific that you could recommend that our listeners could do to remember, to reclaim their authenticity?
Yeah. Loved what you suggested. Therapy is a great modality to use to have somebody help you with, with my clients. It's an unconventional form of therapy, but it's guiding them somatically to the parts of themselves that need to be restored. Because patterns don't live in the mind. Patterns live in the body. And actually at the end of this, in the show notes, we're going to include a somatic / meditation practice that I will guide you through to help you get in touch with that part of yourself, with your authentic essence. But I think everybody's soul is unique in how it comes to reconnect with itself. There's not one size fits all.
Yeah.
I have found somatic healing, obviously it's what I do, to be very beneficial, because reconnection is you're reconnecting back with your body and your truth that lives within you. And you can only do that by engaging your body. You can't think your way into authenticity. It's a remembrance through your body. Journaling, I think, is a great way to get to know yourself and express yourself. Writing, play, fun, being in nature.
Amen.
Yeah. And practice.
Yeah.
Practice expressing yourself authentically, even if it starts just by looking in the mirror and saying, this is what I need.
Yeah.
This is what I want. Because there's a lot of fear around living authentically, because Gabor Mate says, says, I always say his name wrong.
I like how you say it.
Sorry, Gabor. If you're listening to this, which would be so amazing if you were, because you're a hero of both Brandon
And if you're
I.
listening, we would love to welcome you
Yes,
onto
please come.
our podcast as a guest someday.
Please come. Anyways, he says, you have two options of pain. You either choose the pain of living authentically, or you choose the pain of attachment. They will both be painful. Which one do you choose? Which one will be more painful for you? And for me, in my experience, I will choose the pain of living authentically any day over attachment. Because if you choose belonging over attachment, you belong to no one. Because the people who are wanting you to be a certain way in order for them to feel more comfortable, they don't even know the real you. So you belong to no one when you don't belong to self. So I will choose authenticity any day over attachment. And authenticity, what that has brought into my life, the list goes on and on, and I'm running out of time, but so much richness. So much richness. So yeah, I would start there.
Can I just say a big, huge amen to what you mentioned as practices? I've done them, a lot of them with your guided help, healing of my inner child, meditative practices. And again, to the listener, in the show notes, we'll include a link to a somatic meditative practice that Darci's going to guide you through. Please check it out. I can tell you that the work that you do is sacred and has helped me tremendously along the way of self-discovery and of learning to express myself authentically, in healing my nervous system, in learning how to feel my feelings and my bodily sensations, and understanding the messages that they have for me. Journaling, I actually highly recommend a practice that has helped me a lot, is not just journaling, but in writing letters to different versions of myself. That's been super helpful, and that was recommended by you. You remember?
Yeah.
And one of the most profound healing experiences I had was in a meditation you guided me through that brought me back to my little Brandon and gave me much more clarity on how he felt. And it's just been, it's a lot of work, and it's sometimes daunting and difficult and painful, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it.
So worth it. Yeah. Authenticity is the most beautiful, loving way to be.
Yeah.
And I welcome it.
Yeah.
And I love being around people who are authentic. When you are around somebody who is authentic, it makes you feel safe to be that way too. It literally raises the vibration of the world. So
it's magnetic.
It's magnetic.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. Yeah. Oh, we could talk so much about this. So much more to say.
Yeah, there's a lot to say about authenticity. And, keep in mind, we will talk a lot more about it in subsequent episodes. It will come up. We will touch on it in different ways as we continue to go down this, the telling of our stories and expressing to you our life experience and our journeys. we will talk a lot more about authenticity for sure. And I think to finish up, if it's okay, I want to just tell a little parable. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I want to tell, this parable was very influential for me. And it's contained in the Toltec tradition of spirituality. It's the parable of the Smoky mirror. And I learned it through reading The Mastery of Self from Don Miguel Ruiz. And basically, there's a man who is studying and training to become a shaman in the village. This is in ancient times. And the man in this study and training to become a shaman one night has a dream. And in the dream, he sees himself as a body of light. And then he sees his body of light leave his house and is able to travel anywhere in the universe and see anything and everything. And as he goes on this journey, this excursion as a body of light, he begins to understand that he and everyone else is made of light, just like the stars. And as he fully starts to appreciate this amazing revelation that he's being shown, he realizes that there is a dense smoke surrounding most people that blocks their vision of them seeing that they are light. Mm. And he starts to realize that it's only when one remembers and with conscious awareness feels and knows that that smoke that blocks them from seeing their light is the illusions, the lies, the self-limiting beliefs, the attachments, the fear, the shame, the domestication, the conditioning. When one simply remembers that the smoke dissipates and leaves. And the man saw as the smoke left, when he remembered that in front of him was a mirror. And when he looked into that mirror and saw his reflection, he was reminded of who he really was. Mm. And so I just love that parable because, again, authenticity is not about reaching a destination. It's not about having it all figured out. For me, at least, and what I take from this parable, it's the day in and day out, moment to moment, increasing awareness that conditioning, domestication, roles we have to play, masks we have to wear, armor that we carry to protect ourselves, fear, shame, attachment, that's not us. Mm-hmm. That's not us. That's not our true selves. Mm-hmm. And when we remember that, that smoke dissipates and leaves, and we see ourselves in that mirror is just a reminder. The reflection is just a reminder of who we truly are. Mm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Well, thank you, Darci. That was so much fun to talk about authenticity with you and to learn from you. I'm so grateful to have you as my partner in this life and to learn from you and to love you and to receive your love. Thank you so much. Thank you for teaching me so much about authenticity.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
I love you.
I love you too. Thank you to the listener for tuning in, and we welcome you back next week to listen to another episode of the Safe to Be Seen podcast. Thank you.
Free to be, me, free to sing, sweet feathers and melody like a hug, whispering melodies.
The Safe to Be Seen podcast is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only. Darci and Brandon Burke do not claim to be experts. We have no intention to defend our beliefs or impose them onto others. This podcast provides a space to allow for us to share with others what it's like to be us. We desire to share our human journey with others. We advise you to seek professional counsel, therapy, and/or treatment from trained, credentialed, and certified professionals for any emotional, mental, and/or physical conditions you may be experiencing.